What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. It's time for another mailbag where I answer all of your questions on all things related to the Pittsburgh Pirates. My name is Noah Hiles. I cover the Pirates for the Post-Gazette, so before we get into all of these questions, I want to remind everyone, as always, to read all of my work at post-gazette.com. You can check out all of my features, analysis, some inside scoops on what the Pirates trade activity might look like. And a lot more. And I'm not the only person writing for the Post-Gazette these days. Colin Beasley also covers the team with me. You can read all of our work there. And we don't just cover the Pirates. It's all the sports in town, from high school to college to all the professional teams. The Steelers obviously starting training camp this week. A lot of great stuff to read on that front. And some non-sports related stuff to read at the Post-Gazette as well. We cover all the news in town and the surrounding communities outside the city. So check that all out at post-gazette.com. Get yourself a digital subscription if you don't have one already. And also, be sure to check out our print product. We print every Thursday and Sunday. All right, mailbag time. A lot to get into. Final mailbag before the trade deadline. So let's get right after it. First question asks about Oneil Cruz. Who's calling about him, and what would it take to get him, to trade him? So this is a big question that a lot of people asked about after we reported Wednesday afternoon that the Pirates are receiving a ton of calls on Oneil Cruz. I heard that from three different sources, that he has been the subject of some interest. A couple of things on this front. One, do I think Oneil Cruz is getting traded? No, I do not. I think it is still noteworthy that the Pirates have not made it clear to teams that he's unavailable, right? Like the fact that they're listening, where there are other guys on the team like Paul Skeens who they've made it clear, hey, we're not trading this guy. I don't think they want to trade Oneil Cruz. I don't think they can trade Oneil Cruz because they need hitters. But the fact that they're listening to other teams is noteworthy. Now, who are these teams? I don't have any clear confirmation on that right now. Hopefully I can get it soon, and if I do, and you'll know. I'll tweet about it, I'll write stories on it, and there will probably be YouTube videos about it on this channel. But for now, we don't know clearly who exactly has reached out on Cruz, other than the fact that a lot of teams, apparently, according to my sources, have checked in on him. Like I said before, though, I don't anticipate the Pirates moving him at this year's deadline. I just know that because I know that in order for that to happen, they're going to have to be blown away by an offer. The same thing applies to a player like Brian Reynolds, although I think they'd be more willing to move Reynolds than Cruz. You don't offer these guys up without knowing ahead of time, hey, we're going to have to get a crazy offer to even consider making that type of trade. So I don't think the Pirates are going to get an offer like that for Cruz this year. I just don't think his value is high enough for a team wanting to want to, go all in and sell the farm for him. I think that could happen one day. I don't think it happens this year, especially with the trade deadline being now less than a week away. So we'll keep it moving now. Second question comes from Sloss Boss. How badly does Bob Nutting want to get Mitch Keller's salary off the books? I wouldn't say it's a Bob Nutting salary thing, honestly. I mean, I'm not sitting here defending Bob Nutting by any means. I'm not, banging a drum saying that he's willing to pay everyone a great deal of money. But I mean, Bob Nutting agreed to this extension. Like he signed up for it. So I don't think it's like them cutting costs. I think they're looking at it as an opportunity to trade something that can get them to a better overall product. The Pirates need to move one pitcher, and I think it makes sense to move Keller for a multitude of reasons. He's the most established guy that they're willing to move because they're not moving Skeens. He has a lot of team control. He has a good, clean bill of health. And yeah, I mean, the money plays some factor into it, but I think that money, you would at least like to think that money would be reinvested in a hitter this offseason or in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not through free agency, but they acquire a hitter who has a contract similar to Keller. But yeah, and that's been my understanding with Keller all along since I started reporting on the trade interest to him last year in the offseason. I think that they just view that money as an opportunity to spend on a hitter, and that they have pitching that can replace him in the rotation. And he can also bring in a young hitter or two. So theoretically, let's just say they move him and they get two hitters in exchange, two prospects, or maybe a big leaguer and a hitting prospect. And then you use that money that you're going to pay Mitch Keller to sign an established major league hitter in free agency. You just essentially move Mitch Keller for three guys who could be in your everyday lineup next year. That would be a successful move, in my opinion. When you put it that way, where they're looking to essentially move Keller to get 2 to 3 everyday starters, I think that's a smart move. I think Mitch Keller's a really good player, but is he worth holding on to, knowing that you could potentially get 2 to 3 everyday starters in exchange for him? I don't know. I don't think he is. I think that would be a fair move. So I don't think it's something along the lines of a nutting salary dump. Dan wants to know, what are the chances the Pirates hold still at the deadline, minus the rental guys? I don't think it's a huge chance of this happening, but I wouldn't completely write it off. I mean, Ben Cherington is the guy who, has famously said you have to be comfortable saying no. And the Pirates have said no to a lot of things over the years. Cherington's a guy that's known by other front offices, by just other people around the game, as a guy who values his assets. And he's not going to deal them away unless he gets the exact return that he's looking for. And so if that return doesn't come, they're not going to move Mitch Keller. They're not going to move David Bednar, Dennis Santana, Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Oneil Cruz. Those players aren't going unless they get exactly what they want for them. Now, I do think there's a high likelihood that they can have that price met on certain assets, especially Keller, Santana, and Bednar. I think all three of those guys have huge markets right now, and teams would really like to acquire them. Thus, they might get what they're looking for in exchange for those three players. So I think I would be very surprised if none of the controllable guys are moved. But is there a likely scenario where maybe only one of them goes, like a Bednar or a Santana, and Keller sticks around along with everyone else? Yeah, I could see that happening. I still think Keller is going to be moved. I will be surprised if he isn't. I think Santana and Bednar are likely on the way out as well. But if it doesn't happen, would I be entirely shocked? Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised, but I wouldn't say it's impossible. Mossy wants to know, what major league bats are realistic trade targets for the Pirates? It's hard to speculate on this stuff. So to peel back the curtain a little bit, when I'm reaching out to try to get some information on the trade deadline, what I'm looking for is what the Pirates are willing to move and who's interested. Because it's just a lot harder to go around and see, to try and figure out who exactly they're targeting, because the Pirates are probably talking to a lot of teams about a lot of players. And to narrow that list down into a few realistic options, it's tough. And I think it would be, I don't know if you would ever get all of that confirmed, at least someone in my position right now anyway. So, but what I do know is, who's getting calls, who other teams are interested in, and, what might be the outline of a player they're looking to acquire. If I had to make a comparison for the type of player they might be looking for, I think someone like Spencer Horwitz is the minimum. Like you look at why they like Spencer last year. They had a good idea of what he brings to the table, right? They're familiar with him. They also like the tools that he has. They like his years of control, and they like the certain traits he brings to the table as a hitter. I think that's, again, the bare minimum. I think they would like to get someone with a little bit more experience, a little bit more of a proven track record, or on the flip side, they'd like to get someone with a little bit more prowess as a prospect, a guy that's maybe a top 100 rated prospect in AAA who is big league ready. So I think the bare minimum, like I said, are guys like Spencer Horwitz, who were blocked by an elite player at their position at the major league level that hadn't had the opportunity to become an everyday big league player, but someone that can come in and start right away, someone who is major league ready. And again, I want to stress, they're looking for someone probably a little better than Horwitz. I think that's the bare minimum here for them this deadline to find players like that. So I don't know, to throw out a couple names, I wrote the analysis piece where I examined 10 different trade partners. Someone like a Mark Vientos, maybe, or a Jaron Duran. Like, I think those are like the highest ceilings you could expect, right? Because those are guys who are proven big league hitters. They're both having down years compared to what they did last season. But I mean, Vientos hit 27 home runs last season. I mean, Duran was worth like 7.8 WAR last year for Boston. So both of those guys could be on the move. Why not the Pirates? Got a couple more questions here. Before we get into them, though, I want to take a break, and so you guys can hear from our sponsor, Greenwalt Roofing.
Hey, Pittsburgh. When you think of great roofs, you think Greenwalt Roofing Company. With over 20 years' experience, Greenwalt knows your roof is your home's first line of defense from rain, wind, snow, and ice. That's why Greenwalt Roofing's standard for perfection is so important. You can trust that their team of experienced installers will treat your property like it's their own. When it comes to roof replacements, Greenwalt Roofing is Pittsburgh's only choice. Visit greenwaltroofing.com today or call 412-314-8882 to schedule your free estimate. PA contractor number 36262.
All right, big thanks to Greenwalt Roofing. Let's get to the next question from Nathan. Most interesting late round pick, in your opinion, by the Pirates in this year's draft? I'll take the basic answer. I'll go with Jared Jones, the corner infielder out of LSU. Look, man, I mean, if you can hit SEC pitching, well, you're going to probably have similar success in the lower levels of the minor leagues. So the fact that this guy has that track record can give you confidence that he can come in and swing a hot bat in Bradenton or Greensboro or wherever they start him. Now, I don't know his entire ceiling, but I do get a sense that people are pretty high on him. I haven't heard a lot of bad things about him, so I guess I'll go with that pick. David wants to know, where do you see this team in the next 5 to 10 years? Counting a lockout or not counting a lockout, your pick? I don't know. I mean, it's always easy to be optimistic about the future, right? Like 5 to 10 years, Paul Skeens is gone. But I mean, you still have some good players. Like Bubba Chandler, I think, is going to be a really good starting pitcher. I think Seth Hernandez has a very good shot to be an elite arm at this level. I still like guys like Braxton Ashcraft and Hunter Barco and Mike Burrows, Jared Jones. I mean, some of those guys, they could be around during that time frame. I'm sure one of them will get extended if they pitch well. And then, of course, there's Connor Griffin, right? He'll be ideally, right, the headliner of that group if the Pirates are lucky, right? So you would think they'd be better. You would hope, right? They can't be this bad forever, but maybe they can be. I don't know. I think they'll be better. I do think there will be a different financial layout in this sport. I do think there will be a little bit of a lockout. I hope we don't miss all of next season or all of the season because of it. And I'm going to be optimistic and say that doesn't happen. But I think I'll say in the next 5 to 10 years, I'll predict 2 playoff appearances in the next decade. Is that fair? Does that get you guys excited? I sure would like to be around for it when that happens. So that's my prediction. Final one from Kenny. Any chance Bubba Chandler pitches in the bigs this year? And how much more fish line do they give our buddy Jack Sawinski? I do think we see Bubba in the big leagues. I think we would have seen him here already if the team was more competitive. And if Bubba didn't just completely fall flat in the month of June. I think he was trending toward a big league call-up, but then he stopped throwing the ball well. So they didn't have a reason to call him up. But, I mean, you look at it, I think there's going to be 4 or 5 spots at least open on this 40-man roster come August 1st. And I think it'd make a lot of sense to promote Bubba Chandler when the team returns back from Colorado at the end of that road trip there. So I'm not saying that that's exactly when it's going to happen, but I would be surprised if it goes on for much longer after that. As far as Jack Sawinski is concerned, man, I don't know. I think we're about at the end of the road here. I don't know if this is it for Jack as a baseball player, but it's getting harder and harder to assume or see a future with him as a productive player in Pittsburgh. I just don't see it working here. So, which is unfortunate because I thought at one point in time he had a pretty high ceiling. So that's all I got for today. Big thanks to everyone for tuning in, for listening, for watching. Please subscribe if you don't already. Again, check out all of our work at post-gazette.com. Got a ton of great stuff out there. This is the most interesting time of the baseball regular season with the trade, with the draft, with everything. We're covering it all from wall to wall. Hope you guys are paying attention. Hope you're all reading it. Hope you're all clicking the articles, sharing them, doing everything you can. We really appreciate that over at the Post-Gazette. So I'm Noah Hiles. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next time here on the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel and podcast network.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.